Shalom, and welcome to the next edition of RavPod. This week's Parsha, Korach, is best known and remembered for the infamous story of Korach's rebellion and how Moshe, together with the Almighty and the rest of the nation, responded. There's a whole part of the story, though, that misses a lot of public attention and awareness. It comes in the end of the Parsha. After the dust settled with the earthquake that swallowed Korach and the immediate core of his followers, Moshe instructed the heads of each of the tribes to step forward with their walking sticks, for the walking sticks to then be placed in a holy place in the tent of meeting, the Ol Moed. They did so, and overnight a miracle happened. And the walking stick of Aaron, Aaron's stick representing the tribe of Levi, sprouted, was a dry piece of wood. Who knows how long it had been a walking stick? It sprouted almonds and buds, and it took verdant. And in the morning, the 12 leaders were summoned back to the tent to receive their sticks. And the suggestion was that the vibrancy that emerged miraculously from Aaron's stick was a heaven-sent sign that everything that Moshe and Aaron had been trying to show the nation in terms of proper leadership was validated by the Almighty, that Korach was wrong, and that Aaron was rightful in his position of newly appointed Kohen Gadol. Yet at that point, the story could have ended, except that it didn't. The instructions from God to Aaron and Moses was that Aaron's stick should be left in the Holy of Holies, lefnei ha'edut la'ot. It was to be placed right next to the holy ark that held the Ten Commandments, to be a sign. Each year on Yom Kippur, when the Kohen Gadol would enter that sanctum, as he would be allowed to do only once a year, that stick would be there with its green growth and almond buds. And somehow or another, that would be a symbol for the Kohen Gadol. But let us take a moment and ask the following question. If that was such a profound miracle, validating Aaron as the high priest, why was it put in a place next to the ark in the Holy of Holies that would only be seen once a year and only seen by one person, the Kohen Gadol, when he would go through the Yom Kippur service on the 10th day of Tishrei each and every year? Why keep it hidden? What was the purpose of the sign? Lefnei ha'edut, before the testimony, meaning before the 10 Commandments, la'ot, as a sign. In my mind, I see the vision that we learned about recently, that at the end of each term of presidency in our country, the United States, there's a tradition that the outgoing president, in one of his last acts, would write a letter to the incoming president, leave it in an envelope in the presidential desk, so that the next president, when he assumes office, would find the letter with a message, hopefully of encouragement for his successor. Letters aren't published. The country doesn't even know about them for the most part, other than allegedly that they happen. But the letter was there from one president to the next, reminding him hopefully of the importance of the position and the responsibility to the nation. That perhaps could be what this stick of Aaron's was supposed to do every year on Yom Kippur, not knowing from this year to the next who would be the Kohen Gadol that would see that stick next. And people sometimes ask themselves, not only high priests, but even each and every one of us, we find ourselves in positions when decisions we make might have implications for others, family members, neighbors, communities. It's important for everyone to remember that each one of us builds a future based on a legacy. It might be a family legacy. It might be the expectations of a community. But every human being, every member of a community has a capacity to be a leader, not in headline grabbing ways necessarily, but recognizing that some of the choices we make, some of the decisions we make, some of the statements we make have import and importance to the lives of others. The role of the Kohen, particularly on Yom Kippur, when he was alone in the Holy of Holies, was for the benefit of everybody. And maybe on that day, a Kohen Gadol would question, what am I doing here? He would see the stick, and he'd be reminded that it was originally placed there centuries and generations earlier by Aaron, who assumed leadership responsibility in the aftermath of a challenge. And it would remind Aaron and the Kohanim who would follow him that the words they use, the choices they make, the decisions that fashion who they are should reflect the latest chain in a legacy that goes back to the beginning of tradition. And even in 2026, we may not be Kohanim Gadolim, each and every one of us, but we are leaders in our families and in our communities. Let us each think about the stick of Aaron that blossomed miraculously. And when we have opportunities to make decisions that could have importance beyond the privacy of our own lives, let us strive to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be, so that there is blossoming, there is blooming, there is optimism, there is positivity, so that when we complete whatever the task might be or the message is, that the people who depend upon us will feel better because of what we've done and feel that leadership came forth from what we have shared. Shabbat Shalom. Looking forward to seeing you in Shul this week.